Right then, welcome back to the channel. Stephen Howson. 5 things that we learned watching United against Liverpool early hours of this morning. First one, Rashford, it does look sharp, I think. It's probably the best he's looked in a little while. He was dangerous and direct, lively. Obviously got to look at finishing and end product, but it was a bright game from him. United are going to need him to consistently play at his best. I think he's getting used to playing with Harry Amas, who's very offensive, very front foot in everything that he does, whether it's pressing, whether it's tackling, or whether it's getting forward with the ball. And I think that's the sort of fullback that really suits Marcus's game. There is a correlation between Marcus doing well and Luke Shaw playing. And I think having someone that is as aggressive and offensive as he is really helps Marcus in the final third. So I think that's something that we've got to identify and get. And obviously, it's not the only sole reason why Marcus does or doesn't play well, but it's certainly a factor and something that we've got to look into for him if we want him to deliver. Because Marcus delivering 30 goals next season would be absolutely sensational for us, and we know he's got it in his locker. We need him to be able to find that to consistently play at his best. Number 2, defensive woes. It was a back four that probably won't ever start a Premier League game. I say probably won't ever start a league game. I mean, it might have done last season because of the way things were, but there's a good chance that this back four that we saw yesterday, this morning, won't ever start a competitive game for Manchester United. But we are still vulnerable against attacks. I thought Amas was really good going forward, and he I don't know if I would say he was shaky, but there was times where he struggled, I think, that'd be fair to say, against Mo Salah. But also, he did pretty damn well at Mo Salah. He was on him quite a lot as well. And I know that the goal which people tried to attribute to him really was Toby Collier's mistake at the time. But there's other issues at play here as well. Casemiro pressing out the box and getting rolled as easy when he's got people in behind him. You know, that's one, Casemiro's fault, but two, the fact that there's no one in the centre of the defence to marshal the defence out. Because you shouldn't be sitting in your box waiting for shots. As Casemiro goes, the whole defence needs to go and be stopping that shot. And if it's not a shot, it's going to be a through ball. If it's a through ball, it's offside if you've pressed hard enough in that sort of area. So there was systematic vulnerabilities, but also individual mistakes, which led to the goals. Wan-Bissaka getting 90 minutes in the middle of, probably being sold was weird. Onana didn't have the greatest day. I mean, someone shared a stats with me last night, which was they only had 3 shots on goal on target and scored 2 goals after like an hour, where United had like 15 with 7 on goal and hadn't scored. It tells you the difference. Sancho and Anthony, below par. 2 players that are under a lot of scrutiny, 2 players that have cost us a lot of money, and 2 players that played without any level of urgency, any spark. Just the pair of them looked like they were just going for a kickabout with the mates, forgetting that this is their profession and they're paid handsomely to be able to deliver performances. Anthony is supposedly demanding to fight for his place when the club wants him out, but his performances don't show me that he's looking to fight for his place. Both are behind Ahmad by a long way in the pecking order. And I don't think there's many United fans. I'm sure there's one just because there's lunatics everywhere, isn't there? But I was going to say I don't think there's any, but I don't think there's many United fans that would be upset at all if we sold them. They're doing nothing. They are the symptoms of a poorly run football club, the pair of them. When United had a right-wing spot in Mason Greenwood, obviously he no longer plays for Manchester United, but when we had a right-wing spot in Mason Greenwood, the football club sanctioned the not inconsiderable signing of Ahmad, the not inconsiderable signing of Sancho, and the not inconsiderable signing of Anthony, which combined probably like £200 million worth of signings when you already had a player for that position. Now, yes, you may have said, okay, Greenwood's going to end up as a striker rather than playing off the right, but the point stands. We've spent $200 million trying to fix a problem we didn't have. That right there is why Manchester United have spent so much money on transfers. And that right there is why Manchester United have wasted so much money on transfers. And it's also why United fans have been saying that we've not been run well as a football club, because there was at no point when Ten Hag comes in, he goes, I want another right winger. No point was there the thought of the cost of Anthony. At no point was there the thought of, actually, we need reinforcements in other areas of the pitch. We signed Anthony and then panic bought Casemiro. A football board that's actually got starting 11s written on a wall somewhere, looking at contract expiries and the value of certain players, and would have said, actually, from the club's point of view, signing another right winger makes no sense right now. And certainly sanctioning 85 million on a right winger, he's just fucking dumb. Unfortunately, that's the situation that Manchester United have found ourselves in for the past 11 years. You know, when you look at, we didn't sign a striker under 30, it felt like, for the longest time. Nobody was looking at the 5-year plan and saying, actually, no, we could do with bringing in someone a bit younger, or we're okay in that position, we don't need to sign another position. There's no, you can't just sign the same position over and over and over and over and over again. There has to be like thought and planning and sense behind some of this stuff, and justification. You know, you couldn't justify it. Like when we signed him, someone was like, that's a bit dear, that. I don't know how good he is. I'm not sure it's 85 million. I think we've overpaid for him here. You know, he did look good in Eredivisie. I don't know if he looked that good. Number 4, where does Mason Mount fit? I think he's had a fairly bright pre-season. But there's got to be a lot more. Going back to the previous point of why have we signed certain players? Did we pay £60 million for a backup that would have been free 12 months later and he got injured for 9 months? Now, of course, you can't know when injuries are going to come and get you, but did we pay £60 million for a backup number 10? I think he's got some qualities, some real footballing qualities. I think he's a real footballer. But I don't know if he's a natural fit in this team at the moment. There's been flashes, but you'd expect that because he's a good footballer. He is a good footballer. He's a good technical footballer. He's got a good football brain. He's an intelligent footballer. But I don't know if he's the right footballer for this team. Especially when you've got a Bruno, that's never injured, never has the day off, never needs a day off, never gets substituted. It's very hard to see where Mason Mount's going to fit in. When he came, we were like, okay, are we going to go to like a midfield 3? Because Bruno's got the engine to be able to be a box-to-box midfielder. If you had those two as your box-to-box midfielders, well, you can do it. You could do it. But you're going to need an out-and-out 6. Unless you're playing fucking Paddock or something, right? You're going to need a number 6 that's going to patrol for the counter-attacks. You can't play Menu there because he's not a go-get-the-ball-back kind of player. He's a give him the ball, let him see what we can do kind of player. He needs that sort of guy alongside him. So you've got a lot of players who are great on the ball, but you can't have a midfield that's only great on the ball. You need a midfield that also wants to get the ball back and is capable of getting the ball back at times. And finally, that's it. That's pre-season done. The real work starts now. We have sort of one pre-season game left in the Charity Shield, but it's technically a competitive game. It's a Super Cup, but it's a competitive game. And it's against Manchester City. So for pride, for the fact that they're going to be hurting over the fact that we stole the FA Cup off them last season, for all of those things, and the fact that, you know, some of our players have been training just a few days. You know, we didn't have many starters in the game against Liverpool last night. But we are going to need to take the game to Manchester City at some point. There's not people that will accept just rolling over. And we shouldn't accept just rolling over. You know, the season starts, we have to be ready. There's no excuse no more. You have to just be like, no, you need to be ready. I don't care how long you've been in training. I don't care how long you've been back. We actually don't care you've got injuries either. You need to be ready, and you need to be able to put up a better fight than we have done previously. Anyway, that's it from me. It's not ended on the high note that we was hoping for, but I'm sure there's going to be a shitload of transfers in the coming days. So check those out, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.